Hi there. In this video, I am going to show you some examples of drawings that I have submitted with my planning applications to give you an understanding of the type of drawings that you need to submit with your applications. So this video is part of the Prep for Yes planning application or planning approval toolkit, and it comes along with the checklist. So these are just some examples for you to see what the types of drawings that I've explained about in the checklist that are in the toolkit describe. So if you're wondering what on earth is this toolkit and you'd like to get hold of it for yourself, have a look in the description and you can get that for yourself there. There are some general requirements for drawings that need to be submitted with your planning application, and they must meet the following criteria. They must be readable, accurate, and up to date. They must be drawn using an identified metric scale. All relevant measurements should be displayed. There should be a title box with the title of the drawing number, the date, the nature of the proposed development, the site address, and the scale of the drawing. Actually, the nature of the proposed development, there's a little bit of mute point. I don't necessarily describe all of the things that's going on. That's in the drawing, but yeah, the title block needs to have those other bits of information. All existing and proposed work should be clearly identified. It should show all section lines. Revisions to drawings should be clear. The direction of north should be clear, and if you're applying online, then having a scale bar. For some planning departments, it's essential, and for some, it's just a recommended, it's best practice. So I'm going to show you now some examples. So here we go. There we go, you can see that. So this is an example illustration for a project, and I'm going to show you all the drawings that I submitted for this particular project. So first of all, the project started off with sketch plans. Sketch plans are not what you submit with your planning application. So these are the sketch plans, the very initial ideas that showed what the proposal was going to be. These were the sketches that I did in conversation with my clients to figure out what it was they wanted and how we could do it. Then you need a location plan. So this is an example of a location plan. You can see at the bottom, there's the north point. There's a linear scale here. It's got the grid, and the site is outlined with a red line. Those are the minimum requirements for a site plan. Now, I, at that time, always combined the site and the location plan. Sorry, this is more like location plan. That's not necessarily possible anymore. When you submit online now on the planning portal, there is an integrated location plan kind of creator, if you like. That's a new feature. It didn't used to be there, and so you used to have to create your location plan separately, and I always created them at like 1 to 500 scale, so that it could kind of act as a combined existing site plan and location plan at the same time. I've had pushback from doing that from planning departments now, so that's not necessarily possible. Then you need a site plan. For this, as I said, I used the location plan as the existing. This is the proposed site plan. You need to show clearly what's the new as opposed to the existing on the proposed. And then you can see there's a north point there, and in the description here it says scale 1 to 200 at A3, just to make it very clear that once it's printed at A3, this was a scale at 1 to 200. Then you need floor plans, and here's some examples. So this was the existing ground floor plan. Again, it's got the scale here, 1 to 50 at A3, and I've shown, the walls, windows, doors, very simple, but it's enough information. And this was the boundary kind of fencing. And then this was the proposed design. And again, It's simple. It shows everything that it needs to show. It doesn't show any of the construction detail. That is not essential at planning stage. It shows the scale, shows the revisions, the project, the drawing title, a project reference, a drawing number, and the project address. Then you need to have roof plans. So this is an example of a roof plan. All the arrows show which way the roof is sloping down. I've indicated where the eaves are, where the ridge is, where the gutters are, where roof lights are. So, and this is a chimney. So this is and then you've got these lines here which show underneath the roof overhang where the actual external wall is as well. Again, it's got all the revisions shown, the scale, drawing number, etc. You need to have, for the roof plan, you need to have the existing as well as the proposed. And then elevations, I've shown here, what this is the proposed elevations. So you can see the original is hashed, like dashed in there, dashed lines show where the original extent was. And then we've got the proposed with the new texture, new finish on there, and it's all labeled to each of the elevations is labeled with the orientation, the compass orientation, so that it's clear. And then also I describe whether it's the front, whether it's the rear, whether it's the side, those sorts of things. And then you want to show the sections. Sections are a cut through of your building. Now you are supposed to show the section lines on the floor plans. I think if you remember back, I didn't actually show the section lines on the floor plans for these, but this was validated anyway. But it is going back a few years now. 2017 this drawing was plotted, so we're going back a few years for this project, and things have moved on, and a lot more of the planning departments have tightened up their validation requirements, and so they do require you to show section lines on floor plans, and they do require you to show a bit more information really than was required previously. I mean, I've seen, like, way back in the old days, those sketch plans that I showed you at the very beginning, they were accepted sometimes. That sort of level of information was accepted for planning proposals at times. And so it's things are constantly changing, things are always moving on. And you need a contextual drawing. Now, for this particular project, I didn't do a contextual drawing. So I'm showing you another project, a different project. So this was the original house, and we built this side extension, this green sage rendered section. And the reason that I drew the neighboring house and showed the garage is because we needed to make sure that it was very clear to the planners that they're not very keen on two-story side extensions basically, and we wanted to make sure that the planners were aware that there was no risk of a terracing effect, which is something that they are very worried about. And yeah, I have lots of opinions on that, but I won't go into them now. But this is just a very simple drawing to show this house is adjoining, this dashed line is the boundary, the party wall between this adjoining house and this one, which it's an identical reflection of this. And then this is the other adjacent neighboring house, but it's at the main body of the house is a distance from this extension. And then I also created this illustrative elevation to give a more clear understanding of what it would look like with the textures of the materials applied, because I think that can be really useful. It's not an essential thing to do, but I think that it really helps people, especially other neighbours, to see what it might look like and whether they're comfortable with seeing that or not. So those are some example drawings, and I hope that's been really helpful to give you some idea of what to expect when you get drawings from your architect, what you need to submit with your application, And as I said, this goes with the checklist that I have in the toolkit for the Prep for Yes Planning Approval Toolkit, which also has a guide on how to maximize your chance of success, as well as a workbook to help you gather all the information and make sure that you're ready to submit your application. That's if you're doing it for yourself. So you can get hold of that. It's a really reasonable price, and you can find the link for that below, and you can find out more. Thanks very much, and goodbye for now.